Good morning, good morning, good morning. A merry stupid o'clock to one and all. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I am your host, Tiffany Daniels, and we're going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we get rolling with the stupid that pours out from this judge's report, the usual disclaimers. First off, you are going to see the link to this freaking horrific train wreck of a report right there in the description box, alongside the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject, the templates, sign your name, click on your senator, let's end adversive treatments and improper restraints in schools, and also the ever-present change.org Shut the Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition. Please share on all your social media. And folks, when we are talking about the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of, as well as see clips from video surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you have young children present, please, guys, go ahead, use your headphones. Also, folks, it is 3:27 a.m. in the morning. It is stupid o'clock, and I had a really bad day yesterday, and my self-esteem took quite a blow, and now I'm like all anxiety ridden for today. So if I skip over words, if there's any obscenities at all, or if I like mangle sentences horribly, my apologies in advance, alright? Okay, so we're going to where we left off yesterday. Student health and nursing. Summary of findings. Remember, roll your shoulders back. Make sure you have some tea. And let's get going here. Okay, here we go. So the addition of the overnight nurse and DVR multiplex in the nursing office greatly increased the level of safety at the JRC residences. The hell? Okay, let me get this straight. More surveillance and less privacy allowed on the behalf of the students, and having a overnight nurse approve of their torture makes it more safe for students. What logic is this judge operating off of? What the hell? But then again, this judge thinks a week of training is good enough in order to make someone an expert on using electric skin shock or ECT, apparently. Lord help me with this one. However, JRCs regarding when a student should be taken to the hospital are somewhat unclear. Oh, you mean the fact that they leave that ambiguous on purpose? Because if more students get taken to the hospital when they need to go, then there might be more of this exposed? Can't have that, can we? The students involved in the August 2007 incident were not taken to the hospital until a few days after the event. Oh my. Poor guys. The position of this monitor is that any incident that involves for a potentially serious injury, physical or emotional, should be dealt with medically and immediately. Or judge. Or we can ban the type of treatment that causes these types of injuries in the first place. Recommendations. JRC should rewrite policies regarding when students should be taken to the emergency room or, if immediately available, to their physician. I'll say it again. Or They can stop using the treatments that send kids to the emergency room, Judge. Why is this a difficult concept for you? While certainly the nursing department should be notified and should initially assess the situation, staff should be trained on when circumstances necessitate a trip to the emergency room or a physician. Or, what is wrong with these people? Further, it should be a JRC policy that all students who suffer moderate or potentially serious injuries be checked at a hospital or the doctor's office as soon as possible after the injury occurs. Okay, so the judge acknowledges that these devices can send someone to the hospital, but somehow the very simple solution of just banning the treatments that are sending them to the hospital doesn't even register to him? The hell? Human rights. Oh, God. Lord help me here. Summary of findings. The revised training for students and staff on human rights complaints seems to have empowered JRC students to report issues sooner and more often. While a particular student may make an unsubstantiated complaint, you mean when they complain about their treatment, about being, tortured for existing, Judge? You call that unsubstantiated, right? The fact that they feel empowered to make complaints is an improvement from the August 2007. Excuse me. Baking powder. How is it empowering to go through what they go through every single day, Judge? They were hoping against hope that after this situation, they might have a more willing ear. But instead, no, they're told they're unsubstantiated because it's part of your court-ordered program. So your human rights are not being violated, which is garbage. Absolute garbage. Judge, a long time ago, it was court-ordered that witches could be burned or hanged. You live in Massachusetts. You know about the Salem witch trials, right? So tell me, Judge, because that was court ordered, did that make it right? Because it was court ordered. Does that mean the people who were hung had their human rights respected? This is the logic we're dealing with, folks. And guess what? You can tell me that's a false equivalency all you want, but when you think about it, it's really not. It's just these days, instead of hanging witches, we're torturing autistics and disabled people. Think on it. During the incident, none of the 3 students involved mentioned wanting to make a human rights complaint, even though the system was in place at the time. Well, why would they even bother? When their human rights are being violated every second of every goddamn day, and every time they have brought up an issue with their treatment as being inhumane, it always falls on deaf ears and it just continues anyway, why would they even bother? Just saying. In reviewing the minutes from the Human Rights Committee meetings, it does not appear that the committee reviews human rights complaints made by the students. Why am I not surprised? Rather, the committee only reviews the number of restraints for the prior month and reviews and approves amended treatment plans. Because the JRC, Judge, they don't think we're people. They don't even think we're animals. Therefore, our opinions, our thoughts, our complaints in this place have no power and matter to no one. How is this a difficult concept to understand? were either monsters or dollar signs, depending on the person. Students are informed of their right to go to the Human Rights Committee with a complaint. However, it does not appear that any complaints actually make it this far. Yeah, I'm not surprised because there's someone there pointing in, but it's court ordered. The monitor also has some concern with regards to the membership of the Human Rights Committee, specifically insofar as it relates to the committee's approval of student treatment plans. There is currently only one clinician on the committee and one licensed psychologist, and there are 4 parent members with children who attend JRC. And no one from the outside who's not having their pockets lined by the JRC, or that the JRC has some level of power over them. God. While certainly the makeup of the committee may be appropriate for reviewing human rights complaints and restraints, the approval of student treatment plans may require more expertise and neutrality than that currently exists on the committee. Gee, ya think so? Good Lord, Judge. They can't have any links to the JRC. You want a real, honest evaluation done. The person put on that committee cannot be in any way approved of by the JRC, having their paychecks sent to them by the JRC, have any affiliations, family members of either staff or students. It has to be an absolute, incomplete, neutral party in order for that to have any kind of legitimacy. Just saying anything else is still a conflict of interest. Recommendations. The Human Rights Committee should be reviewing human rights complaints filed by students, regardless of whether students have requested their complaint be heard by the committee. This could be done anonymously if students do not wish their identities to be revealed. It is important that the committee review these complaints in order to understand the efficacy of the human rights program, whether human rights policies need to be changed, and properly assess the student's safety. Oh, gee, Judge, you think? But tell me, if they have their case managers telling them that their rights are not being violated because it's part of their court-ordered program, after trying to make a claim once or twice, why do you think they would try to keep doing it? Just saying. Remember, no talking out. In order to ensure the committee does not review complaints that are found to be unsubstantiated, I rest my case. They're being told their complaints every day are unsubstantiated because it's court ordered and therefore their rights are not being violated, even though they are. Why would they bother? Human rights officers could recommend complaints that they feel should be reviewed to the Human Rights Coordinator, the Director of Student Services. The Human Rights Coordinator could then pick an appropriate number of complaints for review by the committee. What these students need, this is my suggestion. Now, I do not have a doctorate to my name, but I have worked in this field. This is my suggestion. If you truly and sincerely want these students' human rights to be respected, what you should have is a completely non-biased party whose pockets are not being lined by the JRC, who is not a family member of either a staff member, administration, or anybody that has any type of ties at all to the JRC, who's not having their pockets lined by the JRC, a complete, utter, neutral party that these students can go to with these complaints. Truly neutral. Means someone who's not worked in the JRC before, not a former employee, nothing. Then you might get a brand new awakening, Judge. JRC should reevaluate the membership of the Human Rights Committee to include more qualified clinicians and more individuals with no ties to the JRC. Oh, thank you, Jesus, he sees it. It's a miracle. The monitor understands that the voice of JRC parents who must consent to the treatment plans is critical to have on the committee. However, this should be balanced with more clinical expertise and independent judgment. Thank you. Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you. At least there's that. At least there's that. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. So, my thoughts on all this morning. Easy. Now imagine you're a student at the JRC and you know that the treatment plan that they have you on is a complete violation of your autonomy as a human being, a violation of your privacy, and a violation of your human rights. And you go to the Human Rights Committee and you complain. And then you are being told that your claims are completely unsubstantiated, that it's not neglect or abuse, because it is court ordered. Tell me, why on earth do you think that anybody at this school is going to listen to you? I'm just saying. Also, on one hand, you have the judge agreeing with the JRC that whenever students bring up true, completely logical, coherent concerns about their treatment plans, and even the judge is sitting there telling them, well, that's unsubstantiated. It's not a violation because it's court ordered. At that point, why would you think anyone would listen to you? Yeah, that's the situation these kids are in. So on one hand, you have the judge agreeing with the JRC, right? Saying, but their rights are not being violated because court ordered. Judge, you are from freaking Massachusetts. Try looking up the Salem witch trials sometime. Not everything court ordered respects human rights. Look at your state's own history, for God's sake. But the judge does seem, towards the end of this report, to finally understand that you need somebody to evaluate this place that does not have any sort of incentive at all to side with the JRC. They don't get their paychecks from them. They're not getting paid by them, like, you judge, who do not have family members in the facility, either as students or staff, no ties to administration. I mean, it needs to be someone that is so nonpartisan that I don't even want them to go to church with anybody from the JRC. I know that is probably you sitting there saying, Tiffany, isn't that a bit much? No, it's not. There needs to be individuals, a part of this so-called Human Rights Committee, that has no ties. None. Absolutely none. I don't even want them to be neighbors to these people. None. No ties to the JRC. And bring them in. to determine if their human rights are being violated. Because if you do this, Judge, if you actually bring in a non-biased, non-corrupted party that the JRC has no reach for, and they evaluate this report, much like I did this morning, I think you would be surprised by what they had to say. And on that note, folks, we're going to go ahead and close out for this morning. We don't get very many reviews on this channel, especially on this topic. The few that we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So, folks, please don't forget to hit that like button, hit subscribe, don't forget to hit the comments, feed that algorithm. I do appreciate your time this morning. And as always, we here at Smelling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.